All right, next up, we're going to talk about friend of the channel, John Morant. So apparently, John Morant believes that the NBA is out to get him. He thinks that he's a marked man. He thinks the media and the NBA is out for blood on him on purpose. They think that there's agenda against him. So interesting talk. We've mentioned John Morant on this channel a few times with his trials and tribulations. I don't necessarily think that we've been particularly unreasonable with our John Morant takes. We're just saying, hey man, you want to get to a bag and continue the upward trajectory of your career, just make better choices. And I think that that's what most reasonable people are saying. You got some of these gas bags in the media and on the internet trying to make it seem as though John Morant is being held responsible for the world's problems. I don't think any reasonable person is doing that. I think most reasonable people are saying, "Hey, bro, just make better choices and grow up a little bit."
Right.
And this story is in the public eye, so people are going to talk about it publicly, and it is what it is. Anybody who's uncomfortable with that can go crawl under a rock and just not live, I guess. But this article here says John Morant allegedly feels like the NBA is out to get him. John Morant has had a whirlwind past few months in the NBA, of course. A lot of this started when he flashed a gun while in a strip club in Denver. Subsequently, he was suspended by the NBA for about 8 games. From there, he apologized and claimed that he would be better. However, he flashed a gun again on Instagram Live, which then led to a 25-game suspension. Now, Morant will not be eligible for any awards next season, which cost him tens of millions of dollars. And the actual number amount is about 80 million for anyone who does not know. That 25-game suspension that he will serve next season will make him ineligible for all NBA and various other awards, NBA MVP, all of that kind of stuff. And there's money, there's bags that come along with that stuff. And so to the tune of about 80 million is what that could potentially cost him as a result. So for all y'all social anarchists out there who think people should be able to do whatever the hell they want, ask yourself whether losing $80 million is worth that. But I'll digress. Continuing on with the article. Of course, fans are divided on this suspension. Although some believe it is a good length, others seem to think that this is just way too much. Either way, it is going to put the Memphis Grizzlies in a considerable hole next season. It is going to take them a while to get back into the swing of things. Additionally, who knows how good Morant will be after so many months off. It could be a truly rough season, and now reports are circulating that he and his current former associates are upset. And so here is an embed from a Twitter post from NBA Central. It says John Morant's camp reportedly feels like the NBA and the media are out to get them. Quote, I've heard indirectly that Ja and people close to Ja, perhaps people formerly close to Ja, have this feeling that the NBA out to get them, that the media is out to get them. According to Tim McMahon of ESPN, there is this sense, and Ja and those around him believe the NBA and the media have an agenda going on.
Oh.
And so there you go. Whether it be Ja himself or the Grizzlies organization, everyone loses. John Morant and his greatness are of great benefit to both the league and its media partners. Given this reality, it's hard to imagine there being a coordinated attack against him. Let us know your thoughts on this report, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. Um, this generation's Allen Iverson, as many people have called him, believes that he's now a target, part of an NBA agenda. Do you think John Morant's belief in this regard is legit, or do you think he's blowing a little smoke there?
I think it's yeah and no. Um, they're definitely going to try to make an example out of him. At least the NBA, on what behaviors they don't want. So that's that angle. And then when it comes to the media, they need stories, and John Morant name runs. He gets his name in headlines. They're going to drag the name out. So they're going to keep this thing going so long as it's his name is popular. So his history is going to be brought up for the rest of his life now. And he can turn, do a complete 180, and you're still going to hear about this chapter of his life. And so yeah, it sucks that all those things are going on. But when you're the individual where you're every day you wake up, your name's in a headline, and the headline reads nothing true about you, it's gonna mess with your head eventually. And everybody in your circle seeing these headlines that are inflammatory. Then of course, yeah, the people in the camp are gonna feel like, hey man, they be lying on us. Y'all got something else going. What y'all got going? Y'all want to see a black man win? A young black man win. I mean, come on, it was just a lighter. Come on, it was just a toy. It was a prop. You know, allegedly. So when you got all of these things swirling around in their camp, so yeah, they're gonna feel that way too. So it's the truth to it, but there's multiple angles that you can look at it. Either way, I think every way is playing out as it should. And because Ja moved the way that he did, it moved the current one direction and moved the current in another direction. As he's reading the current, he can't go, hey, bro, you just caused that entire ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be mad at the media for doing what the media does.
Yeah.
And they want a story, bro. And you give them hella juice. But how do you feel about this, bro? Do you feel like there's truth to this or not?
So if he thinks that, and I'm going to go off of the assumption that this is coming from him,
Mm-hmm,
right? So right off the bat, let me just clarify. My take on this is built on the assumption that he truly believes that there's an agenda against him.
mm-hmm,
So because I'm assuming that he truly does believe that there's an agenda against him, what I would say to that end is if he believes that because the media is talking about this, then he has no case. But if he believes this because things are being said about him in a capacity that is untrue, or that ventures into a territory of a smear campaign of some sort where his name is being disparaged, then he would have a point. Now, in my opinion, as I've said, based on what I've seen, and I am no apologist of the media,
no,
especially the mainstream media. I
Lord, no.
think my track record on that is very clear.
Mm-hmm,
I am not someone who capes for the mainstream media. However, everything that I've seen with respect to John Morant in the media is, bro, just make better decisions. That's all. That is mostly what I've seen. The only thing that anything that I have seen that extends beyond that, where now we're trying to disparage his character or suggest that he is causing, because a
or
few
or
weeks ago,
or that he's gonna be dead in like 5 years.
right, right, stuff like that, or like a few weeks ago they were on First Take talking about this, and JJ Redick was going off because
Mm-hmm,
he felt like America was making John Morant out to be this spokesperson for all the societal issues in America. And he brought up things like gun control and gun violence and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, bro, look, now you're becoming a media gas bag because no one in the media who is credible is blaming John Morant for society's problems. No one's doing that. No one's blaming John. There's more people blaming rap music than John Morant himself. Because you had a few people who were saying the music he's listening to is influencing him more than him himself is responsible.
mm-hmm,
So no one with a credible voice is doing that. So I have not seen anything necessarily unreasonable when it comes to critiquing him with respect to this situation. So because of that, I think he's blowing smoke, and I think that he is reading too much into his media scrutiny, which in my opinion is earned. Like, you did this to yourself, bro. But this comes from this microwave generation that we are currently in.
mm-hmm,
And I spoke about this a while back when we talked about Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri Richardson got mad because the media was talking about her. Like, she went, before it was you remember when we talked about that a while back? It was
mm-hmm,
before a race. She went off on the media saying y'all need to respect athletes and respect us. We're human beings, and don't talk bad about our characters and blah 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 blah. She just went off. And you and I scoured the internet looking for negative comments about her in the media, anywhere that's credible. We didn't find any. So who is she mad at? Who does she think is who does she think is doing this to her? But these people who grow up in these microwaves of realities, and they only know their feeds and their handlers and their social media networks and all their followers and their commenters and their likes, you know, they live in echo chambers. They live in echo chambers and they cannot handle legitimate critiques. They can't handle it. Any legit critique levied against them, they view as an attack against them. They feel as though they're under siege.
Right.
So I would imagine that right now John Morant feels like he's under siege merely because ESPN and Fox and Barstool and the rest of these media outlets are talking about him. And they're not talking about his numbers or his MVP candidacy or he's the best one of the best players in the league or one of the best play or the best player on the Grizzlies and blah 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 blah. So if it deters from that in any kind of way, it's an affront towards him. He views it as an attack. Now he's under siege. So I got to be real, bro. Like, I feel like he's blowing smoke. I do. I feel like he's blowing smoke. Now, granted, the media does what the media does. You can't escape it. They are the lamestream media for a reason. And when you do things like what you did, you give them content in the off season. You're gifting them. There's nothing that ESPN loves more than to be able to talk about the NBA credibly during the offseason. When otherwise there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
Like outside of the draft and free agency, there's nothing to talk about with the NBA during the offseason. So John Morant getting suspended 25 games for waving a gun on social media, whether it's a prop or not, it's another damn story.
Yep.
The media does what it does. It's a living, breathing entity. So it's like, bro, no one is assaulting you. This is not happening. Don't let them people around you gas you up and have you believing there's an agenda against you. If anything, it's the opposite. Corporatocracy, as you like to characterize it, is in bed with the idea that they want to get into bed, no pun intended, with these black pro athletes because they're the beacons for social justice in America. So they want to see John Morant win because it helps their cause. So I don't see anyone credible in the media doing this. This is just a result of these younger people, man. They have no concept for for constructive criticism. Everything is an attack. They live in echo chambers, and when you live in an echo chamber, any dissenting opinion towards you feels like an attack. And so he merely feels like he's under attack because his entire life he's been told how excellent he is. Well, bro, you're human. You ain't excellent all the time. So just get used to it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that platforms like ESPN, like I said earlier, that whole crap that he might be dead in like 5 years. It's like, man, where y'all coming up with that from? Ain't nobody taking it that far.
Yeah.
And the like you said, the sensible people basically was like, hey, bro, we get it. You young, you got money, you got any woman you want, you doing your thing, bro. Ball out. And we've all done ignorant thing, the whole path.
Yeah.
People gave him a break, now starting to go down the rabbit hole of well, why he feel like he need to carry that. Is it because he in
Right.
Memphis? Is he around with the
Yeah.
goons? It's
Yeah.
like, where's all of that coming from? So Ja being at home, just being a kid, you know, uh, a bit of a knucklehead, and years later he'll look back and go, yeah, those were my knucklehead years. So, at this time being just a knucklehead and listen to music, that rah music that get him hyped up, that's just the mode he in.
Mm-hmm.
And and again, the day of social media where these kids grew up on this, man, I'm gonna document this. I'm gonna let everybody see, man. Look at all of these impressions I'm getting every time I go live. Yeah. So he's just living, man. So um so all that extra stuff when you're starting to read into things and putting stuff on him now, and those are just the ones I've heard about. And so, but first of all, you ain't supposed to be looking at this stuff anyway. If you're an athlete or entertainer or whatever, only look up the stuff that boosts your ego. Don't look at all the crazy stuff that is.
Yeah.
And because that stuff will drive you mad. But this is such a wild thing where everybody has to dunk on him, even the people that want to tell him to do the right thing. So there's criticism coming from everywhere, but then there's these people that are making these inflammatory, statements. And
Yeah.
so, but again, when you're dealing with the media, there's no honor in there. They're going to do whatever the
No.
hell they want.
Right.
So they're gonna remix the truth whether you like it or not. And because this week they told you one thing, oh, something changed, new development, whatever. Y'all just want to keep running with the story. And so I saw the NBA not trying to suspend him there, especially since it's only 25 games. Them saying that we're gonna wait for after the finals. I didn't see that as them trying to respect the finals. They can say that crap. That was just another media run for the NBA.
Build more anticipation.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because after the season, it's like boom, and then the draft. Man, y'all getting loaded. Y'all getting all kinds of spins and plays and mentions and talks. And so they wanted it for that reason too. So I look at this. I look at all of this stuff as, again, if I was in Jaws camp, especially how they move and how they be acting, I would 100%. If I was in that camp, I would 100% thinking that they trying to mess up a future bag for me. Bro, you already
Mhm.
messed it up. But they're trying to mess it. No, that's how you mess it up,
Yeah.
because they're going to run with it. So you can't be mad at what they do with it afterwards. You already put it on live. And that's what happens when you put it on live. So it's not a thing where there's the agenda is they'll do that to anybody. This is
Hmm.
not specific to you, John Morant. But because you're John Morant, it's just that more enticing, and it gets that many more views and clicks. So I don't want to sound like a sympathizer here for John Morant and his foolish acts, but because they were foolish. But I feel his pain when it comes to, come on, man, cut me some slack, bro. I'm just a
Hmm.
jit. And it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, we get it. But, with all of that money, bro, all them M's, and, you can call these people haters. You can call me a hater. You can say whatever you want. But all them M's, everybody can look online and know your salary. Well, then it's you either going to have groupie love. There's people in the middle. But the people in the middle don't talk, and they don't get on Twitter and start talking to you.
Hmm.
Then you're gonna have a whole bunch of people that never lived what they can get where you're at in their life, and they don't even have to be basketball. They never hit their top potential, and they know it. And so yeah, they go on Twitter all day, or Instagram, or whatever, TikTok, YouTube, hopping in comment sections, hating on people. So yeah, man, it sucks for him, but that's what happens, Ja. And
Yeah.
so, yes, there is an agenda to run your name through the mud, but that's the agenda of the media, period.
Right.
So, hey, you got
Yeah.
it.
It's going to do what it's going to do.
Hmm.
And how he feels about needing, and I know I'm not necessarily, I'm if that is a part of his defense, cut me some slack and blah blah blah. Like, I hear what he's saying. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, I'm not hurting anybody. A lot of people like to say he's not committing any crime. He's and no one was assaulted, no one was physically hurt, any of that kind of stuff. It's just an image PR Instagram
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just like, hey man, listen, what's his contract? $190 million, something like that. I have to look it up. I don't know his
Yeah.
contract off the top of my head. But look, man, to
Yeah.
to
No.
to whom much is given, much is required. It
Yeah,
is
man.
what it is.
Yep.
And yes, this is not something that is unique unto him. So youth is not an excuse because he's not the only young player in the NBA. If it was all about youth, every young player would be doing dumb shit. He just appears to have particularly bad judgment, and he ain't the first one and won't be the last. It's
5 years,
just
5 years, 194.
there you go. I know it was something like that, 190 something. So it's just like he ain't the first, he won't be the last. See Zion. Um, and it's ironic too, because both of them were in the same draft class. It's crazy. But but it's just like, hey, bro, look, it's this is what the media does. So you can either just take your licks or make better choices and don't put yourself in position to have you under that microscope because they're going to put you under the microscope.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I guess is it an agenda? Yes, but John Morant saying it's a John Morant agenda,
Right. Now I
and
don't
we're
agree with
saying, hey,
that.
bro, listen, it's not a John Morant agenda. This is what the media does. This it's a media function. It's a functionality of the media. You're
Yes.
going to be talked about 4 weeks because your
Yes.
content, and
Yes.
and just don't make yourself content, bro.
And if
Don't make
and
yourself content.
and I'm not a race baiting dude or whatever, but hey man, yeah, you young and black with money. If you want to throw that card in there, yeah, bro, that happens too. Are they running with Brett Favre stories? No. Are they running with all these other things that be going on with other people? No. They talk about it, it's whatever, whatever. And so if you want, even if you want to play that card, bro, that's what goes on. So you just have to be mindful of all of these things when you just out here operating. So even if you want to do that, man, the whole thing is that like you just said, bro, we're not saying that this is a targeted specifically to Ja. So yeah, the Ja agenda, there is no Ja agenda. There's the media running with hype. And yeah, man, it's good fodder. And guess what, man? We made content out of it too, man. But this is just how the organism works. And once you're looking at it from I guess his lens, because first of all, I mean, it's through everybody's timeline. All big time people are talking about it, and I'm pretty sure he's on social media, so he's gonna see it. And you know if it's not that you're lust for pain, and that it's just that it's you gonna see your name and you gonna see what people got to say about you, and it bothers him. So I feel you, bro. But hey, man, this is gonna be more to come unless you really do a 180, bro. And I wouldn't even fake the funk. I'll just do everything that I was already gonna do. I just wouldn't put the goofy stuff on live, and I'll just fall back. And then by the time he hit 26, 27, and he starts to mature up a little bit and actually want to be a pro, then I feel like a lot of that stuff will go away. But right now he's young, he smokes, he drinks, he had, he's not being a professional. And how can you expect that? Yeah, I mean he should. There's other people who do, but hey man, I was 23, bro. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was 23. Going to my college course hungover from the night before, literally trying to earn a degree, but partying so hard the night before that I'm hungover in class. I can't even listen to the professor. It's like Charlie Brown teacher.
I don't think that is
I'm telling, but I'm just saying, in my own personal life, while I'm trying to achieve, while I'm trying to hit a goal, and I know I got better things, I know better. I'm still partying and acting a fool because I'm young. And
yeah,
so,
but the consequences for you doing that are not the same. That's the
no,
thing
I,
is,
I understand that,
yeah.
but I don't. I understand that, but I, there's levels to things. I don't have so much to lose, but I could have positioned myself, and who knows? What if I'm not going to class hungover?
Well,
I'm
the only
I'm a
point
better
that I'm
student. I'm a
the
better
only
student.
point yeah, the only point that I'm trying to make is you don't know how you would have conducted yourself had you been in a similar situation at that age where you had that much to lose. I think it's easy to analogize it in that way because when you're going to school hungover, what's the penalty? A failing grade, maybe. That's not that pales in comparison to losing $80 million.
No,
So it's just it's just
I know it's paling in comparison to losing $80 million, but I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have that on the line. But I had other things on the line, like getting masters and getting PhDs. But since my work ethic wasn't professional when I was in college, trying to be professional, I didn't take school seriously. And then so because I didn't take school seriously, I didn't. This is my analogy of him being young and not taking his profession seriously. And so as you get older, you start to see the value in oh man, I'm in college. This is a place of opportunity. I was wasting it. I was coming to class hungover. I wasn't coming to class prepared and ready as I know I should have been. So that was just an analogy speaking on his age, not not comparing $80 million to a passing grade in college. So I'm just
yeah.
saying that
No,
I hmm?
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I said, yeah. So I'm just saying, I've been there too. I've been there too, and I can attest that this is due to young age. Now, will he grow up or will he be Boosie, walking around on Instagram Live with a gun in his back, on his backside? Will he never grow up, or is this just a young man thing? Who knows? I'm wishing him the best, but right now, I can't say that the media is out to get him. I think there's a lot of people out there like me that's just giving him constructive criticism. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it differs from one individual to the next.
mhm.
I guess age might be a commonality, but it's not something. It's not a defining commonality
It's
because
not.
not everyone who is that age is going to make those types of decisions.
They're
So,
not.
is it a factor? Perhaps, but you know, it's just
That's a
I
wait and
do
see.
think that there's a lack of there's an element to carrying yourself with a lack of professionalism that is there. I don't necessarily tie that to age as much for a person in his situation because he has so much. Those individuals have to live a completely different reality where they're essentially forced to have to conduct themselves in certain scenarios that you or I will never really know what it's like unless we get there. So, either way, yeah, I don't think that it's ESPN sitting around in a boardroom saying, "How are we going to get Ja today?" And I don't think the NBA is doing that either. I don't think the NBA is doing that. I don't think the media is doing that. I
Uh,
just think that what we often do is excuse bad behavior. And it's like, well, not bad behavior, but poor decision making, not bad behavior. Um, and it's just, bro, just make better, smarter decisions. That's all. And I think that's all anyone's been saying from the jump.
no, I agree. And so, and it's a time will tell thing. And so,
Yeah.
will he grow up? Will he not? But these are clearly childish acts. So, and he's still a child to me. So, hopefully he grows up, and hopefully he don't do Boosie and still try to do 19-year-old shit at 40 something years old. And that's how you get caught up, and the media always try to tear you down. So, good luck, y'all.
Yeah, I guess. I'm trying to think of what dumb stuff I did when I was 24. I can't
You
really.
didn't, bro. You were clean cut. By the way, man, when we was in school, this guy here, yes, Mr. Studious. All right. So yeah, man. So we can go down the road with that stuff, but man, I don't even know how I passed. I do, but I don't.
uh, yeah, I went wayward once I graduated. I think that's when I started.
Oh
But oh
yeah,
well,
bro.
good luck, John. Ain't nobody out to get you, bro. Just make better choices. That's all.
Yeah, man.